Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, I'm actually getting very concerned about even the test cruises. So, just a quick recap. As we all know, the no sale order ended and we now have the framework for cruising to be continued, right? We have that framework in place where the cruise lines have to give notices, apply for test cruises, do the test cruises, come back, turn in their report. The CDC can then tell them to do more test cruises and more test cruises. And then eventually, hopefully, they say, okay, we sign off on that. And then they have to sign off for approval to get passengers, paying passengers on their cruise ships. So there's a whole thing in place. And if you remember, there was, at one point, the CDC wanted to shut down cruises until February. And the COVID task force at the time said, yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're only doing it 30 days. After that 30 days is when that no sale order lifted and the framework took place. And a lot of people were really surprised by some of the things like the test cruises and having to follow all these different things. What I'm worried about now is that it doesn't matter what happens during the test cruises. It does not matter. They're still not going to be allowed to sail. And here's my logic behind that. Now, obviously, it looks like the CDC was forced to lift the no sale order. They wanted it to go to February, and then all of a sudden the next month they just say, okay, it's okay. So there was pressure there for them to lift the no sale order. Well, now we have the test cruises where they can indefinitely postpone and say, nope, that didn't sign off, and God forbid we have one positive test on any cruise ship doing a test cruise, because then they will shut down. They won't shut it down. They'll say, you know what, you just got to run more tests, more test cruises, more test cruises, more test cruises. And this could go on indefinitely, absolutely indefinitely. And and they already have in place that even when they allow you to start sailing with passengers, you can only do it for 7 days, and they're going to limit the passengers on board. They're going to limit the amount of the destinations you're going to. They're going to limit the ports you can go to. They're going to limit basically they're going to limit the cruise lines to any kind of budget is out the window. Now, a lot of the cruise lines just went out and they borrowed a ton of money. They borrowed, Carnival, another $4.2 billion worth of revenue. Trouble is, they're running through over $500 million every single month that they're not sailing. And the longer this continues, the more backlog and more debt and more debt and more debt they build up, that I'm very afraid that you're going to start seeing these cruise lines in deep financial trouble. I would not be surprised that within the next month, 2 months, you start seeing more and more cruise ships just sold to the scrapyard from various cruises. I would not be surprised if Carnival Corporation cuts their fleet another 20 to 30% because of how long it's going to be to restart and how much money they've had to borrow and raise in shares and costs and everything. We figured once the no sale order is lifted, if they do everything right and everything looks good, that's it. We can finally start to slowly revamp the industry back up. But with this new framework, this could literally go on for another year, another year, easily, before we actually see paying passengers again. I know the cruise lines want to start by January 1st. I know they want to get 2 test cruises out there. But I'm so curious to see what happens with those first cruise ships that come back and how many times they're going to have to redo the test cruises. And if one person or two people actually test positive for the virus, and remember, United States just almost hit 200,000 cases in one day. They hit 198,000 some in one day. So the spread is everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere across the United States and Canada and in Europe and all these different places. It's rampant. So it's not like it's safe in one area and we're safe in this area. It's rampant right now everywhere across the world. So let's not sugarcoat that whatsoever. However, the cruise lines, again, the only ones not allowed to open, and they have to jump through these hoops. And I really strongly think that those hoops are going to be extended and extended and extended before we're actually going to see any sign of paying passengers on a cruise line. And I think the cruise lines will be in trouble by then. I think if we don't see paying passengers on those ships in March, April, May, I honestly feel that you will start to see a ton more ships being sold off for auction or sold to the scrapyard. The industry has already lost over 250 some thousand jobs in the United States alone. That's not counting travel agents. That's not counting businesses that own, that supply, like farmers that supply to the cruise lines and warehouse supplies and all that. That doesn't include them. That's just straight jobs lost at cruise ports and in the actual industry from the United States. Over $26 billion of income gone, like revenue in the areas gone. It's kind of scary, and that's for a lot of things, right? Airlines are way down, 10%, 15% of traffic, so they're in desperate trouble. They're in desperate finance. They're laying off people all over the place. Hotel industry, restaurant industry, gym industry, you name it. Everybody out there is suffering through all this. And I really think the cruise line, you got to admit, the cruise line has been the brunt of restrictions out of everything else out there. And I do believe that they are going to be in some huge, huge financial trouble if we don't see, the clearance to sail in March and April. I don't know how much longer they can continue to bleed money. Over a year of making $0 while still paying out hundreds of millions of dollars a month. Nobody could sustain that. Disney's not sustaining that. Nobody's sustaining that. I'm getting afraid for the industry as a whole. That's not even counting the individuals out there. So yeah. Not great way to start the week, but I honestly feel that's exactly what's going to happen because the CDC, as I said yesterday, just raised their level warnings for cruise ships from level 3 to level 4, even though they have this framework that they announced in place. Kind of makes it sound like that's the opposite, right? Oh, we're going to try and open the cruise line safely. We have this framework that we think will work and everything, but this is now the highest level. Do not travel. Do not do anything on this, because doesn't that contradict each other? Doesn't that kind of say that, well, we didn't really want to do this framework. We were kind of forced to do this framework. And if we get a chance in the future to get rid of the framework, we will. So that's not looking very promising. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think we're going to see sailings in March and April with paying passengers? Because it's looking less and less likely to me that even that's going to happen. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let's see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world. Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.